I got some earth-shattering news for you guys. Well, I'm sure you already heard, but the earth did shake at about 5:15 this morning here. Pretty badly. Anyway, Shawn Baker gets his medical license back. No surprise here. If you had followed his story and believed his side of the story, you suspected this was going to happen, and lo and behold, it did. I don't agree with Shawn Baker's diet. Well, I know it wouldn't work for me, okay? But maybe I'll make a video about that at some point, not sure. And it pisses me off that people come around trolling and automatically assuming that everybody who says anything about the carnivore diet eats exactly the way Shawn Baker eats, right? Ludicrous. Anyway, that's a topic for another video, I suppose. But, you know, Shawn Baker never struck me as dogmatic, and, you know, he tells people to eat whatever they feel like eating. This is just what's working for him, and if it's working for you, if only for the time being, then that's fine. And I'm talking about muscle, meat, and water, essentially. Maybe with some eggs and cheese, on occasion, maybe some fish, right? Not the optimal diet for me, but like I said, that's another video. Anyway, I think there's a lot to learn here, at least for the people whose eyes are still closed and who don't really pay much attention and just run around gossiping like a bunch of little bitches. See, this is the problem with dogmatic, possessed, ignorant people. Had you followed Shawn Baker's story, and congratulations to the doctor, by the way. Even though I disagree with his diet, I like and respect the man, alright? You know, all of you vegans running around saying that Dr. Shawn Baker is not a doctor anymore. Well, he never stopped being a doctor, okay? It's so crazy how this vegan community, they think they're right on everything, and everything they say is just garbage. Or you could put it there. You guys are full of shit. You have no clue what you're talking about ever. Ever. So, he never got his license taken away. He surrendered it because it was, as he tells you, and he's always told you, the options on the table for him were to battle it out in court with the hospital he used to work for and spend lots of money, or surrender his license and try to get it back at a later date. And that's what he did. That's what happened. He got his license back. All right? That's first and foremost. He never got his license taken away. He surrendered it. And he never stopped being a doctor, because you can't undo the education that you got at the university or wherever, right? This is the problem with the vegan community, and I'm sure it's a broader problem, but since we're talking about the people who think that humans are herbivores, right? I mean, if this is the foundation of your education, I mean, wow. Just wow. You know what I mean? But this is what you guys do. You hear Make the Vegan say something, or Happy Healthy Vegan say something, and you just assume that this is true. And you run with it, and you spread it like wildfire, thinking it's gospel. It ain't. Just like you, those guys just parrot and repeat shit that suits and fits their ideology. They don't know anything. And if they do, they're lying. But as soon as some vegan says something, some other vegan picks it up and runs with it like it's fact. But this is just what vegans do. They spread rumors. So, just like you guys don't investigate the diet because you jump on it, and I'm talking about the plant-based vegan diet, you don't investigate anything. You just run around repeating shit. That's why so many of you fail on this death diet. Because the simplest way I could put it to you guys, without getting into the details that I have gotten into plenty and other people have, and you will never ever accept until you either fail or do the research yourself. And honestly, the simplest way I could put it to you is the reason why you fail on this shit diet is because humans are not herbivores. It really doesn't get any simpler than that. But you hear some high-profile vegan or some of these vegan quote-unquote doctors say something, say that a study that says blah, 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 blah exists, and you run with it like it's fact. You hear Mick the Vegan say that Dr. Shawn Baker got his license stripped, and you hear Happy Healthy Vegan, healthy my fucking ass, say that Shawn Baker is no longer a doctor, and you just run with it. You don't investigate any of these claims. You don't go and try to find out if what they're telling you, these people, if it's even remotely true. You're just a dumb motherfucking useful idiot for the agenda whose purposes you do not fully understand. You think it's about the animals. Your existence on this planet is anti-other animal species. That's just what it is. So unless you off yourself, and this is why veganism logically leads to anti-natalism and anti-humanism, yeah? Unless you off yourself, there's no way you can save animals by existing. It's just impossible. You know, you got a doctor trying to do his best to prevent injuries, diseases, trying to help them change their lifestyle, right? So that they don't have to get put on drugs or pay for these expensive medical procedures. And from what I can see, from what I know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, he's got a lot of happy customers, if you will, right? His advice works for a lot of people, at least for the time being. Right? The feedback is mostly positive. He's successful at what he's doing. And that guy gets in trouble because he's not recommending expensive procedures and drugs, right? And then you got people like Dr. Garth Davis, for example, looking at Fully Raw Christina's abysmal blood markers. Fucking red flags all over the place, all over the damn place, right? And he says, "You're healthier than shit, Christina. Because I'm a doctor and I say so." Like, are you kidding me? Why does that guy have a license? Why does Dr. Greger have a license? One look at that motherfucker and you should take his license away. I mean, come on. How do these doctors that say that humans are herbivores, or at least can be, when we know that they can't? This isn't even debatable. We know humans cannot be herbivores. Maybe in a million years, all right, I'll give you that. If you don't mind all the casualties of that fucking dietary experiment. You got all these doctors bullshitting you, lying, completely misrepresenting the science, cherry-picking the science, never, ever, ever, ever doing any sort of meta-analysis, which any serious scientist, which they are not, would have to do in order to make any declarative statements this way or that way. None of these doctors do any of that. A lot of these doctors don't treat anybody. And then they look at someone like Fully Raw Christina, her blood markers, and the shit is just a red flag after red flag after red flag, and they call that shit perfect, only to contradict themselves a few months or years later down the line by denouncing exactly the diet that Fully Raw Christina is on that they used to support. You get these clowns running around when there is no debate, there is no controversy in the scientific community that humans are omnivores, right? The science is settled on this. We have always eaten meat. Meat is our ancestral food, period. You got zero proof that meat causes disease. Zero. It doesn't exist. If you disagree and you want to debate this, bring the studies and we'll talk about this live. None of you will ever take me up on this. Because you don't believe the shit that you spew, vegans. You don't believe it. You don't have any proof for the shit that you say. You just hear somebody say something and you repeat it like a gossiping little bitch. All right? So you got doctors like, I think he's a doctor, Gary Fetke. I think that's how you say his name. Over in Australia, right? Challenging the establishment's way of doing things. And having success, improving the lives of his patients, right? The system goes after him. Same with Dr. Shawn Baker. And I'm sure there are other examples I'm not aware of. And then you got these pseudo wannabe doctors that never treated anybody, like Dr. Greger. Looks like he's about to keel the fuck over and croak. Telling people that humans are herbivores and you should poop 12 times a fucking day, right? Nonsense. That are allowed to practice. You got Garth Davises out there running around saying that your blood markers are perfect when they're abysmal. And clearly, right before your eyes, the woman is just falling the fuck apart. 30 years old or something, looking like she's 50. And those people are allowed to practice. Why? Well, the same reason why someone like Gojiman gets support and is allowed to exist. I don't know how he gets away with treating people when he doesn't have any qualifications. But vegans are running around and calling him a medical professional. They're calling him a doctor. I've seen people call Gojiman a doctor in video. You kidding me? Right? Those people are allowed to practice. Why? Well, because they're just going to keep you sick. But whenever somebody finds a cure or a preventative measure and is able to fix your problems or prevent problems by changing your lifestyle, practicing this so-called lifestyle medicine that actually works, those people get in trouble. I mean, it ain't that fucking difficult to put two and two together, man. One last thing I forgot to say. And this is, once again, why veganism is a self-refuting ideology, why these people are complete and utter hypocrites, and why you shouldn't, if you're smart, listen to anything any vegan has to say. As soon as somebody tells you that humans are herbivores or that the plant-based diet is the best diet for the human being, one and the same, you need to stay as far the fuck away from that person as possible. Anyway, if the reason why Shawn Baker wasn't credible was because he had lost his medical license, was credible, if that was a good reason to say the guy's not credible, right? Because his license was revoked, then now that he has his license back, he has to be credible, right? All the vegans will come out and say, we were wrong. Dr. Shawn Baker is credible. Everything he says is true because he's a doctor, right? Now, obviously, I don't believe this nonsense because it's nothing but an appeal to authority, right? But that is what veganism is, right? This is one of the tenets of veganism. Appeal to authority. The World Health Organization says so. Vegan doctors, which make up like 1%, not even that probably, of the medical establishment, right? Vegan doctors say so, it must be true. But this is the hypocrisy of veganism and these vegans, and why veganism is a self-refuting ideology. Yet again, proves itself to be that. This is just another one of many reasons, right? If Dr. Shawn Baker, once again, was not credible because he got his license taken away, let's say that did happen, because his license was no longer in his possession. He no longer had a medical license to practice medicine. That meant to every single goddamn vegan out there that he wasn't credible. Now that he has his license, every single vegan has to, right, logically, within their own logical framework, the way they view the world, right, even though it is an appeal to authority, every single fucking vegan now has to say that Dr. Shawn Baker is credible, right? And everything he says is gospel, right? Well, obviously, they won't because they're hypocrites. And, well, they're going to tell the truth all of a sudden. And if you try to say that Shawn Baker is a doctor, so you should listen to him, they'll tell you you're appealing to authority, when they themselves were appealing to authority by saying, well, the medical establishment says Dr. Shawn Baker isn't fit to practice medicine. Thus, he is not credible, right? Yet another way how veganism is a self-refuting ideology, and anybody that falls for this bullshit deserves exactly what they get. And you can't be very honest. You can't be very intelligent. You cannot be taken seriously if you fall for this bullshit, because it doesn't make any sense. And this is the difference between appealing to an authority, which is a fallacy and should never be done if you want to be logical, versus being logical and appealing to logic. You dig? Thanks for listening.